Hi, hello, g'day, kia ora, welcome to the studio. I'm Paula from Moxy Mojo, and this is day 20 of Dephemerember 2023, your inspiration for December. Thank you for joining me for today's prompts. Feel free to craft along or sit back and enjoy watching my take on the prompts from Louisa and Barbara. Today is recycled fairy. This prompt, I knew straight away what I wanted to do. The inspiration for it goes way back into history. Back when I was a child and through until sort of all my childhood and as a teenager, I danced competitively. So I learnt ballet for a term. That was all I could handle. But I learnt tap the whole time, tap dancing. And I also learnt jazz and modern dancing. So I danced competitively in the tap and jazz. When I gave that up, I started to teach tap and jazz. When I eventually started learning ballroom as well, so I learnt ballroom, all the new Vogue dances, tango, jive, you name it, I learnt it. And went through and did all my exams on that, and eventually I ended up teaching a little bit of that as well. But somewhere along the way, during my competitive days, one of the song and dances that I did was a song called Nobody Loves a Fairy When She's 40. And even though I was considerably younger than that, it's one of the more memorable numbers, and I think probably because it was a comedy and everybody loved it. So that is my inspiration for my creation for today. So yet again, we are going OTT, over the top, with what I am planning to create today. And even if you don't join in, you just sit back and enjoy the creation, I hope you see, if nothing else, but the humour in it, because that's where it's coming from. Yet again, my love of crafting and just wanting to have fun and enjoy the process as well as the outcome. So we need the cutting board to start with, and I've got my blade. What we're starting with is, and I don't know if you can see them, so let me just put a piece of cardboard underneath them. These are, or this is, no, these are, this is, who cares about my English? This is a cupboard that I found the image on the internet somewhere. I struggled to find pictures of a cupboard where I could see the outside as well as the inside, and that was what I wanted. And admittedly, the inside is a little bit dark, but that's okay. It's not going to be seen that much, so it'll do for what we want. Now, I've fussy cut around these two images already, hence why you can see them. But I haven't done anything else to them. So here we go. Let's see if I can live up to my creative inspiration or not. As usual, we are going to have to do some crafting surgery, so let's get started. So we're going to need a ruler for a start. Pulling the chair in, getting ready for the surgery. We've got the light on. I can't say I've necessarily got my surgical gear on, but it'll do. What we want to do is open the doors on this cupboard so that, or cut them so that they will open out. That's the plan. We are going to start by, let's just cut straight down the middle. Now you probably can't see it, but in this image there's like where the doors open out, and I'm just kind of taking a stab, so to speak, at where that is and cutting the best that I can. Now I've printed this on card stock. It's 220 grams textured card, so it's heavier weight but not ultra heavy, so it should cut reasonably easy. And let's just go for it. And all I'm doing is I've lined my ruler up with the doors on the card, on the image, and I've just run my blade down the edge of the doors. So far so good. Now we're going to do the same along the bottom to about where I think the hinges are, and we will cut along there. And we're just going to have to do a little bit extra here because there we go. So now they open up at the bottom, you can see that, but we still have this bottom of the wardrobe here. And now I'm going to have to freehand this bit here, being the top of the wardrobe doors. So we've got, now have we got, okay, so I'm just looking at this. In this image, I've cut down one side of here, and it looks like there's two doors in this bit, but when I look at this image here, I can't see like a central strut down the back of the wardrobe there. So we might just have to wing it for our purposes and leave that extra bit on this side here. I should have maybe cut down the middle. Oh well, too late now. So here we go, we're going to cut this, and I am just kind of following the image and quite frankly hoping for the best. Okay, so look at that, they both open. Woohoo! That's good news. Right, we will close that for now. What we do need is this and this, because I think it will be easier to score on here. Now I'm going to turn this sideways because I am short and I want to line this up, and I need to move it up a wee bit so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm lining this up on the 2.5 line. We've got from here down to there. I hope that's on a line, and this is where I'm going to need the ruler again. I've found this is the best way of doing it, where you can't necessarily see what it is that you're lining up on, or if you're lining up on the same line. There. So that shows me that yes, that is a line. was harder than I anticipated. It's a wee bit wider than the other one, but that's okay. We now need to very carefully, because I don't want to bend this side, alright, so that is one door that opens. Now we do the other one that opens. And at the moment I'm just going to finger press them so that I know they're going to open. Right, so that's the front of the cabinet done. Now we need to do behind the cabinet. So what I'll be doing is sitting this effectively on front of the other bit. But as you can see, the doors are open, so we need to trim these off. What I want to do is I can trim off the bottom of this so long as I trim across there. And it is as long as I'm like not too high, so I'm going to leave a little bit underneath, so keeping my, whoops, not staying on the ruler there. That's one off. I may need to completely reprint this because my cutting is terrible. It's atrocious. Right, so that's that. Now we're going to trim this off. That's better. I'm going to cut off this. What we might do is just cover it with maybe tea or coffee dyed paper. Right, so that's there. So let's just check this now. So that's there. So I'll need to trim the sides down again a wee bit, but that's okay. And then I need to, if I trim like across there, then I won't have to worry about the sticking out bit. So we're going to go straight up there. That's one side sorted. Oops, two sides sorted. And then we're going to go really badly across there, but fast. That's okay. So now when we adhere that in place, okay, minus the trimming on the sides I need to do, we won't take that into account, but when we open the doors we can see inside the cupboard. Well, we'll be able to once I stick it down. That's okay. Right. Now, what I just feel the need to do is, because this is coming apart, I'm going to take some very sticky washi tape because of my bad cutting, and I am just going to stick this across the back of here. To hold it together. So just to be 100% sure that we don't lose any of the bits along there. Now we can trim along here because oops, no, stay there. You're supposed to stay together. You're defeating the purpose of the washi tape. Right, there. That should be enough. Right. See, nobody's perfect, especially me. Right. Okay, so I think tea and coffee pages will do. So let's look. I've got a supply of a few of them here. So I want some particularly dark ones. And I saw one in here somewhere. That was it, I think. Yeah, right. That one will do. We'll just call that a lined surface for our cupboard. So what we are going to do is stick this onto there. Essentially like that. That way round? No, that way round. We want that corner there. So we're going to move you out the way. We don't want anything happening to you. So we're going to use our Crafter's Choice glue because this is the non-warping one for paper, and that's what we want. We don't want our paper to warp. And now we are going to very carefully, so we're going to, first of all we're going to remove the craft mat, the cutting mat, which I neglected to do because I want the glue to be able to come off easily. Alright, so there, around there, we want up this side, across here, and then we want these doors. Now I just really hope that I am not about to stick these down together. I want to stick them down, but not to each other. And here we go again. Second door. Right. Let's go, Joe. So we're going for the frame first, and then we need to push that there. Now we need to clear off very quickly some of this excess glue. But hopefully we can cover it with ink, distress ink. It's not quite in the right position, but it will do. Clean you off. Right, okay, so clean off all those glue blobby bits. Now let's really push you down. And here we go. Right, so that can go off to the side. And I should have thought about this properly earlier on, but c'est la vie. So I'm going to cut round this off camera so you don't have to see the pain of me doing that, because we know how much I dislike fussy cutting. I'm also going to recut across here, up the middle and across the top of the door. And then that should hopefully leave our doors covered in this coffee dyed paper. So I'll be back. Okay, what a palaver that was. So I'm not going to show you how bad my cutting was because it was pretty atrocious. And basically the answer to the question, can Paula cut a straight line, is no. So, to hide the evidence, at least for these internal doors, we're going to do some inking. I'm not worrying about the outside edge because I'll get a chance to do that. Right, so we've done that. Now we're going to stick this on top of there, and that will give us our wardrobe as such. Going to there, and that's going to go across to there. As long as I know, where's my pencil, not to glue below there or above there. Right. Oh, that stupid bottle, I need to find a new home for it. Alright, so now I think I'll pick this up because I want to make sure I don't glue the doors. Be just my luck to glue the doors shut. I have to apologise, and I should have done it before. I've got my little wee fan on tonight, or today I should say, because it has been so hot in the studio, and I am absolutely roasting, and because I don't want to cark out from heat exhaustion, I've had to put it on. So my apologies if you can hear that whole lot of noise in the background, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's either that or I die of heat exhaustion. Maybe a little bit overly dramatic, but you know, you get the picture. Right, so that's down there. Here goes. So we are sticking you there and there. And now we are going to that door now opens, and so now our wardrobe doors open. We have our wardrobe. Now we need to put things into our wardrobe. So the first thing I want to do is make a crown for my fairy. And I picked up this from Temu. It is, I think it's classed as like some kind of bridal jewelry type stuff. And it's made a mix of like faux pearls, clear gemstone beads, there's some long pearls, and then there's these rhinestones. So mix there, and I've got it in silver and gold as well. So I'm just going to use a bit of the silver because that is open, so therefore it's going to be used. And I want about that much. So there we go. We can clip that and put that back in there. Now for this I am going to, there's a little loop on one end, so I'm going to put the other end through that and then twist it around, and I'm going to close that loop. Where's my pliers? So I'm going to close the loop. Can't see that it's a loop. Then I'm going to put everything so that it's up above and not sort of split half up, half down. So there we have a fairy crown. A little bit more second hand. Does need to be a little flat so that our page will open or close. So we're just going to kind of flatten it a wee bit. Alright, so that will do for that for now. A couple of hangers. Made one. So I'm just going to make another one. So I start off by bending a hook. That's the hook for the ear, and this is I'd say it's about 2mm copper wire, brass wire, copper wire, but it's really flexible. It's a really cheap wire. So we're now going to have, so we've got our neck there. We now need to bend it for the first arm of the coat hanger. Then we want that to go to about there, so we're then going to bend it back on itself and I'm not worrying about straightening the wire at this stage. So we're then going to flip it back again, and I'm going to cut it a wee bit past where it needs to, where it crosses over. Right, so there. But I'm going to leave that open for the moment. What we need is not too much, that'll do. We are going to layer this pink, brown, yellow, and brown. Now what I'm going to do is this end here of our coat hanger that we're making, we're going to thread it through, gather it directly onto our coat hanger. So we finally have this all threaded on. Now what we're going to do is bring this in front of our first arm of the coat hanger, and then wrap it around, and you can see I can do this with my fingers, and then to make it a little bit easier I'm going to use my needle nose pliers, and now wrap it around the neck of my coat hanger, kind of just like a full-size one. And then, because I've got a big bit sticking out there, I'm just going to attempt to flatten that out so that I'm not going to injure myself. And there we go. So we've got our tutu hanging on a coat hanger. Now this one's a wee bit bigger than the first one, but that's okay. So we're just going to like kind of bend it a little bit to make it look like an older coat hanger. And now to make our tutu, our fairy dress, look a little bit ripped, I'm just going to add some slices Right, there we go, that's what we want. Now it's looking really second hand and recycled. Right, so we've got those two. Is our wings. Now for this I've pre-cut out a pattern, and I've just hand sketched this out of some recycled copier paper. So I've got this scrap left over from our bubbles, and this was in our mushroom robots. I used this. So now what I'm going to do is cut around this. We want these to look second hand as well. That one you can definitely see. Okay, so I'm going to use some more of this recycled wire. This was the wire I got from something, I can't remember what. And where's our wire end? There. So what I want is, I'm going to make a loop somehow. So let's just cut a bit of wire and we'll go from there. I want to glue all this together. Just made little wee cuts on the ends of this on like an angle, and we can like tear little wee chunks out. I've got a little bit of some brown paint I mixed up here, and it's kind of a yucky brown colour. So let's just paint on the back. And see what that does. That makes it look a little bit frosty too. That's cool, that's what we want. Not so nice wings. That was all we needed, just a little bit of brown paint. So that's what we have now, and that is how it started out. Bit of a difference. I like it. Right, so we've got that done. Now we need a wand. Right, so I've got a skewer here, and I need to, I don't want it too long, so maybe about there. So what we want to do now is colour this a little bit. Now what we need is a star for on our wand. So I have a piece of leftover cardstock, and this was off something from one of the other prompts. Now I have to admit it was great personal sacrifice for this. I, you know, for the love of my craft, had some chocolate just so that I could get some gold wrapping paper. I know we all make these sacrifices. I know. Yep, it's a hard life being a crafter. It really is. And I'm going to double side this scrap in this gold paper. So now I am going to freehand cut a star. That is an incredibly deformed star. It's perfect. Oh my lord, look at that star, isn't it atrocious? Yes, I love it. I love it. Ugh. And because I've cut it while the ink was, while the glue was still wet, it hasn't adhered well, which is fantastic. I don't think I could have planned it better. So what's happening is that the paper is lifting and the whole lot is just separating. I could not have planned this better. So we need a length of this. I've now got a loop that's like 2 or 3 circles wide. Sandwich that is the word we want. Sandwich that in there. What I want to do with these is kind of make them look like the laces of ballet shoes. It is going to like be the tie on the skirt, and so for that what I'm going to do is use some of my Lindy sprays. So I've got, and I've brought a selection of colours. I've got Cosmopolitan Pink, I've got Chateau Rose. So the Cosmopolitan Pink is a Starburst, Chateau Rose is a Flat Fabio, Autumn Maple Crimson is a Starburst, and then I've also got Clambake Beige, which is a Starburst, Cattail Copper Brown is a Starburst, and Dark Chocolate Truffle is a Starburst. So we've only got a little bit of this ribbon, and this ribbon I have actually sliced in half. So I'm expecting it to fray as I kind of colour and dye it, but that's okay. So we're going to start off with the Flat Fabio Chateau Rose, and who knows what we're going to end up with here. So I want to mix it up really well, and we're going to spray onto there, and I know that's a very light pink, so that's okay. And I'm going to end up with dyed fingers, that's also okay. I'm just hoping that this ribbon will take on the colour. That's cool. Now we're going to put in some of this Cosmopolitan pink. And this is a Starburst, so this will give it a bit of a shimmer. So I don't want too much. And I'm not going to mix it up. And now I'm going to add in some of this Clambake Beige, which is also a Starburst, so that's got a bit of shimmer in it. But you can't really see that, so I might need to go straight to... I'm going to go straight to... What do we want? Cattail Copper? No, I might go for the dark chocolate truffle. So move these all out the way, because I think it's going to be, oops, more than enough colour. Yep. There we go. So that's going to dirty it up. So in order to dry this, I'm going to use my tweezers to hold it, because there's hardly any ribbon there. Normally if there was a bit more, then I could quite happily scrunch it. But yeah, I don't know that there's enough for that, and I don't want to burn my fingers basically. So I'm just going to speed through this bit and we'll see what we end up with. That looks like a dirty pink. Go out tutu, which we are now going to wrap the ribbon around. What I'm able to do is just pull this ribbon apart so that it is just so fringy, so falling apart. And poor thing. How's our star looking? Munted, completely munted. It's fantastic. Our wand needs to do that. Isn't that absolutely horrible looking wand? Oh my god, I love it so much. That is beautiful. Oh dear me. But I was just thinking something like that would be handy, because that would hold that down. I think we're going to go there. And because there's a slightly bigger gap, because it's between signatures, and then that's going to hold that down. Okay, right. The decision has been made. A recycled fairy. So, under here, we have our recycled crown, our poor little wee bent wand, our sad looking wings, And then we open up the cupboard doors, and there is our ripped little wee tutu dress hanging in our wardrobe. So wardrobe cupboard open, and all of our little wee fairy accoutrements. So I'll take some pictures of this once everything is dry and I can get sort of it positioned a little bit better, so that you can see the individual components as well as how they look together. But I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. As I said, I was going over the top with this. I had so much to do. This is going to be a long video, I know. But I think it was all worth it. I think it looks awesome. I love it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope there is something there that you like, that you may not, I mean, it might not be your style, you might not want to try it yourself, but I hope you can maybe take on board the fun in which it was intended and bring that into some of your crafting. So I will see you again back in the studio. Bye for now.